What's going on with this election?
Oh boy! So yesterday, John and I were talking about an amazing change in the polls that's been going on, and it's about senior citizens. Like Kamala Harris might be the first Democrat to win senior voters 65 and over since Al Gore in 2000, and they found, like in a recent CNN SSRS poll out this week, that Harris is leading Trump 50% to 46% amongst senior voters. The survey is not an outlier. The average poll has Harris up by 3 points over Trump among seniors. And like this is a market turnaround from before Biden dropped out of the race in July. And from the final estimates of 2020, both the polling average from earlier this year and the post-election findings from 2020 had Trump up by 4 points over Biden among seniors who were 65 and older. So crazy, like honestly crazy to me that this is even close. Like the fact I would have, if I hadn't have read that and then checked all the polls on this, because I hadn't heard anything about this. This is my first time hearing the fact that what's strange about this too is 65 and older is slightly toward Harris in most polls, but between 50 and 64, heavily for Trump. And so, that's just kind of a weird break right there. But the fact that older voters were more likely to vote for Harris than Biden was very odd to me. I don't know if you saw that. Biden was trailing with seniors, but Harris has gone up like an 8-point swing. I think it's over. I mean over, but whatever. Like I've never been more confident that Harris is going to win when I saw that, because I just can't foresee a reality in which Kamala Harris wins the senior vote or even like splits it in which she loses. Because like they usually vote. They were voting Republicans the last 25 years.
So I've been having some anxiety attacks this week. Not seriously. I have them seriously, but I haven't seriously had them this week about this yet. But it's been a bad week in the polls for Harris, and we're approaching the point where mean regression becomes impossible. Where like, hey, whoever wins the last news cycle, that's the last news cycle there is before the election. And if it was this week, we'd be in a this is a positive Trump cycle. I mean, looking at the last 7 days, and I'll share our polling data here. Where the hell are we? So I agree with you. Like if she wins seniors, it's kind of hard to imagine her losing. But the problem is the swing states, right? Like it's the electoral college advantage is so massive for Trump. Like this is if she wins the national vote by between 1 and 2 points, she only has a 27% chance of winning the election. Like that is the insanity that we are experiencing here with the Electoral College. And that's why it's so fucking scary. If this was a national popular vote, TJ, I'd be right fucking with you. I'd be like, it's virtually impossible for her to lose. But with the Electoral College, that's not the case. And like if we look at polling in the blue wall states, they're moving in the wrong direction right now. With the section of Pennsylvania, and I said, where Pennsylvania goes, the election will go. I did a little math, and that's not entirely true. Like this is the state of the race as it currently is with the polls. We have a slight lead here. But if she loses one of these blue wall states, any one of them, and Trump retains North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, she loses the race even if she wins Pennsylvania. And that, like, even if she loses Nevada here, is that... Oh, she wins. She wins if she loses Nevada and wins PA. So there's that. But like any other of the states, if she loses any of the blue wall states, it's over for her. And that is a scary proposition. When, oh shit, I was just showing an interactive map, but it was on a different tab, so it wasn't shown on the broadcast here. So apologies for that. You were probably very confused. But all of these, they are moving Republican, and that's not good at all. I'm a little scared. And the thing that I've been thinking a lot about, and this is just a total, like, John is complaining. I'm having a little bit of a feminine emotional reaction. Is that I don't believe Republicans when they say that that they actually believe Kamala Harris is some threat to America.
No,
Like I don't like the
of course
way
not.
I feel about Donald Trump, which is very fucking verified in exactly what he is telling me he's going to do. I'm terrified of it. I do not think that it. I think very bad things will happen to this country if he actually is able to deport 11 fucking million people. I hope that he's incompetent enough that he's incapable of doing what he says he will. But if he deports 11 million people, that's going to have massively terrible effects for everyone in this country. And I don't believe Republicans, if they seem to think that Kamala Harris will be as bad for this country as I think Donald Trump will be, just based on what they're saying. If they just enact the things that they're saying they're going to do, Kamala Harris, at worst, will be 4 more years of what we just had, which wasn't all that fucking bad. Like it wasn't. It was great. I fucking hate Joe Biden, and I have to admit that we're looking at the rest of the world. We did a pretty damn good job. And I hate to fucking say that. That's how I know you can't be fucking like serious about it. It pisses me off, TJ. It's such asymmetrical fucking warfare. It is. Oh, God, it's frustrating.
No, well, when Republicans say it'll be the end of the world, it'll mean that maybe rich people might get taxed a little bit more. Maybe I won't be allowed to burn trans people at the stake. You know, it's just like stuff that doesn't fucking matter at all. And so they've been hyperbolic. They were the folks behind the satanic panic. They're the folks behind the book bannings and shit. They're hysterical folks. I just want to say, I like what TJ said better. John is making me nervous. Yeah, John, stop scaring the poor folks that that Donald Trump's going to win the election. So, John, what I wanted to mention was that you were talking about the blue wall. And so I got to thinking while you were going there, I was checking the maps because I had a suspicion on this, and I was correct about, because you said like Pennsylvania is kind of like this, the keystone state is the key to the election. I think I saw that Harris has like an 8% chance of winning the election if she loses Pennsylvania, and Trump has like a 14% chance of winning the election, lose Pennsylvania. So yeah, whoever wins Pennsylvania has a massive advantage. And so I started looking at like your possibilities and everything, because if they lose Pennsylvania, if Harris loses Pennsylvania, that part of the blue wall, what would she have to win? And I was wondering, when is the last time that Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan voted differently? And 1976. At 1976 is the last time that you had any separation between those two states. Last time they all went blue. For Trump, they all went red. They both went blue for Obama, and the trend goes back. What's that? To 48 years on that. So if Pennsylvania is solidly blue, it's a very good indicator that Wisconsin and Michigan will go blue as well. Not a guarantee.
TJ, the problem is like that logic. And by the way, Heather, I do have some like fun numbers for you that are going to make you feel better, and they are coming. So just hang on. But I have to make the negative case first, because what you're saying goes both ways. Like, yeah, if Pennsylvania is solid, oh, okay, then the rest of them are going to follow. But the rest of them are just as solidly going the other way, and they are still leaning blue, but they're moving in the opposite direction that Pennsylvania is. So, like, yes, polling errors correlate. And that is the reason, by the way, and I've said this on the show before, that's the reason you had like the New York Times in 2016 saying there's like a 99% Hillary was going to win, because they didn't factor in the fact that the polling errors correlate. And if you don't do that, yeah, the numbers said it was a Hillary lock. But like, if you take into consideration that like, oh, well, if the polling errors all go in the same direction, which they usually do, in fact, there is a 40% chance that every swing state goes one way. Like that is like 40% of the time, every single swing state will go to either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. So like that'll happen. But like, yeah, you can make the argument going both ways there, TJ, that you just made. You can make the same argument that Pennsylvania's polls are wrong and it's actually going to swing red because the others are going to as well. Like, it's scary. But to give the optimistic data. So there is a guy on Twitter named Christopher Bowsey. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't think so.
So he's very big into looking at early voting as an indicator of how the election is going to go. And in 2020, he was pretty like gosh darn fucking accurate with it. And in 2022, he was pretty gosh darn fucking accurate with it again. And he's been looking at the early voting trends in these swing states. So I want to just show this to people here because this will give you, this will make you feel a little bit better. It made me feel a little bit better. So here, for example, is this is Florida, right? If we look, this is 2020, this is 2022, this is 2024. Democrats are outpacing their early voting as they were in 2020 and 2022. Republicans are lower than they were in 2020 and 2022. And this is a trend that we are seeing across the board in these swing states. In Pennsylvania, it's the same fucking thing. Which one is, I think this is Michigan. In Michigan, and again, also just Democrats trouncing Republicans, which we expect them to outperform in early voting, but they are outperforming by a larger margin than they have in the last two elections. So Democrats more early voting than in both years previous. Republicans, they have more early voting in Michigan than they did in 2022, but not in 2020. And we are seeing this across the board in all of the swing states. We're seeing the same thing happen in Florida. This is
Yikes! Oh my God!
Yeah,
it's a bloodbath.
This is Pennsylvania here, where you see the massive advantage in early voting in Pennsylvania. And by the way, just so you guys are aware, Pennsylvania counts the early votes last.
John, I was right about to say, I remember this because in 2016, Pennsylvania was the state that kicked off the hysterics is like, well, Trump was losing in the last night and he's all of a sudden winning in the morning. It's like, yeah, they've talked about this for a long time. They said, hey, we should count these votes first so we don't have to do this thing where we wait until the night. And Republicans don't want it because they actually want this shit. They want the confusion afterward. But Republicans could solve this problem. Like this problem they bitch about, like we should have election day, not election week. They could solve this by counting the votes as they come in, like a sane person would, but they won't because they want the controversy.
Exactly, it's intentional. It is the Republican 100%. State legislator of Pennsylvania that makes this happen. I know this. I live here, but look, this is maybe the single thing that is keeping me sane because. If you remember, in 2020, Trump was literally telling people,
"It's funny, I know.
Vote, do not do mail-in voting, do not do these things." And this was his fucking number. He has half as many Republicans doing early voting in Pennsylvania as 2020, and Democrats have doubled their number.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, John, because now Trump is saying go out and do it, and only half of them are doing it. That's a very good point. Yeah,
It really makes
that's an excellent point
that the polls are going to go. The polling error must, if this is the difference in early voting, and the polling error in 2020 went Republican, right? If we are this much outperforming Republicans relative to 2020 in early voting, and you would have a reasonable argument to be made that we shouldn't be as much as 2020 because Trump is telling his voters to go out there and vote early. It indicates to me a lack of voter enthusiasm among the Republican base, an extreme amount of voter enthusiasm among the Democratic base, because again, not only are Republicans underperforming, but the Democrats are overperforming, which means they are more motivated to keep Trump out of office than they were to get Trump out of office. So that to me is all very encouraging, and I was always confident Kamala was going to win Pennsylvania. I am now more confident Kamala is going to win Pennsylvania. I'm just a little more iffy on the other blue wall states than I previously was.
Fair enough. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah, this is one of those things where, come on, we all know this is true, right? I'm kind of doing this right now, but the vibes are just off with the Trump campaign this year. They're just off. They're nowhere near as good as 2016. I would say it's worse than 2020. That I hate to do the Trump thing of pointing to the crowd sizes, but you'll see he's speaking to half-empty arenas. The low early voting when Trump and Vance are telling people to go out and early vote is a good sign. It's just, I don't know, the Trump fatigue set in. He's running president. He's been running for president for 10 years now, and it's his third time around. He sounds worse and worse every day. Like, he doesn't have the same spark. I think he thinks he's going to lose. He just doesn't have the energy that he has anymore. And I'm glad to see that it's being reflected. Those were good numbers for the early voting.
Yeah, and to put Florida, so the mail-in ballots in Florida, Democrats are beating Republicans about 1,000,000 to 880,000.
Oh, close.
And there have been more mail-in ballot requests. They continue to increase the mail-in ballot requests in polls. So
oh my God, getting trounced all over the place. That's so great. I love it.
Florida is definitely like the Lucy's holding the football for us. It's like, oh,
I know.
Florida's in play this year. No, it's not. But I do think that it's in play this year.
I'm picking it. I'm going to pick it for it to go blue. Why the hell not, right? Why the hell not?
Here's the thing. Like, if she wins Florida, again, they'll still claim like cry foul,
fraud, yeah,
whatever,
of course.
but like, no one will fucking
if
that Ron DeSantis cheated for Kamala Harris. Are you really going to?
He's a rhino now. They turn on him just like that. There's no honor among thieves. But I do, like, honestly, this is my lib coming out here, but to like bring the country together is not just to squash this. If Harris wins 340 electoral votes, okay, we're done. There's no conversation to have here. Like, the more solid the victory is, and the quicker. And if Florida goes blue, done. We can just call it a night. It's over. There's no coming back from that. It's wishful thinking, sure, but why not? Who's going to stop us?
But TJ, what's really going to happen? What's really going to happen?
Oh, I don't know.
No. This is like the fucking Batman quote, like, this isn't the hero that we need right now, this is the hero that we deserve. This isn't the outcome that we need right now, but it is the outcome we deserve. 270 to 270.
Oh, so wait, that's not right. It's 2, because that's 540. That's not it's 538. So it'd be like 269. 269.
You're right. My bad.
But
you need 270 to win. That's
you're right.
Yeah. My bad.
So for those of you wondering, that can't happen. Wild system, right? Like, this is a ridiculous system. First of all, the Electoral College, nothing's stopping us from making it an odd number. Nothing. Well, that's not true. I guess it's counted on based how many representatives we have. We have 100 senators and 435 representatives and 3 for DC. We could give DC 4, just like whatever. Just like, what's stopping us from doing this? Make it an odd number so this can't happen. But the founding,
get Puerto Rico 1.
Get Puerto Rico. Oh, no, we can't have that, because that's like. But if there is a tie, the presidency goes to the House of Representatives, which is controlled by the Republicans, which means the Republicans will get the president. However, the vice presidency goes to the Senate, because this is a brilliant system, right? Like, this is like the Senate would give us what's it? Tim Walz. Tim Walz would be the vice president. So yeah.
If the House of Representatives tied and it goes that, honestly, that very small chance of happening thing is my favorite outcome. That is what I'm rooting for the most.
The world's ending. We might as well have fun, right? We might as well just have a Trump Waltz president and vice president. Like, let's just roll with it. But
all right, guys, you made it to the end of the video once again. Go you! You are our favorite viewer, especially if you've liked and subscribed. It's just me and TJ here this week. We'll have a guest here again next week, and they will tell you where to find them. But this week, TJ, let's just close it out. Let's just do it. You know what? I really appreciate those of you, the conservatives who hate watch. Your comments are very funny to me. Very funny. Not insightful, not clever, not thoughtful, not informative anyway, but they do make me laugh. So keep up the great work, folks. We really appreciate it.